Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at how we use a transparency slider in animation tools. We're going to be learning how to use the transparency slider to compare different attributes from the same yield map, and then how to use the animation tool to see how the field was harvested. Rightio, so we have our yield data and our field, and we want to compare the data from the yield map from 2012, and at the moment we are looking at dry yield data. The first thing that we notice is we've got our reconciled dry yield data beneath it. So this, if we select the view beneath it, it just changes slightly where we've altered the data and recalibrated the yield data from the monitor. So we can choose either of the data, it doesn't matter, or if we want to go to mass yield, that's entirely fine as well. So I want to compare the dry yield that we have here, the reconciled dry yield, with the moisture from this particular field. So what I'm going to do is move over to my management tree and right mouse click and copy the task that we want to compare, and then I right mouse click again on the commodity year, right mouse click and go paste, and it comes up with the paste layer options, and I want to copy all the data. And we see now that if we just move the window slightly, that I've got two identical tasks, and one is the copy of the other. So I can see, if I look in my displayed layers window, that it is the top layer that I've got. So to bring the second layer that I've just copied onto the window, I will double click it, and we can see now that the copied layer is on the top. Now I've got the choice as to which one I want to have on top. If I want to move the copied layer to the second one down, I can do. I'm still able to change my attributes for that particular yield. If I want to make it the moisture yield, I can do. But the one thing that we do notice is that as the copied layer is underneath, I don't actually view it. So this is where the transparency layer and slider comes in. So I highlight my top yield, my top layer, which is my yield, and I move the transparency slider down, and now it is the top layer is the transparent one. And so I'm now, if I move it all the way to the left, I can't see anything of my yield data. But if I move it back to the right, we can see that it starts to change and move, so we can see the yield data on top and the moisture data underneath. So we can choose whichever one we want on top by using the two tools here. So if I want to have the yield data underneath, I just swap them over like that, and we can see whichever yield, whichever layer we want to have on top, is that is the one that is showing all of the time. If I want to remove one of the layers, I can either click remove from there to get rid of it, or if I want to bring it back again, I can select the task from there. So using the jobs tab, so that comes back on top. And so what we've got here is the ability to use the transparency slider to have a look at our yield data. And when we bring the data back in, we just need to make sure that we are looking at our correct attribute, whereas as soon as we bring it in, it'll pick up the attributes from before. So we can use this to compare any attribute we like. Whatever is on the top layer will be the transparency layer from there, and we can change the levels of them. So yeah, what we want to do now is just have a quick look at the way that the harvest was, the combine was fielded. So we'll go back to our dry yield, for example, and then we have the animation tools up here. So if I click the animation tools, this is the way that the harvest was carried out in that particular field. If we want to stop it, we can do. If we want to have a look at the speed in which this is the fastest way to view the data, or if we want to look at it from a slower point of view, then we can do that and change it all the way through. So we have a couple of ways in which we can view our data. We can either use the transparency tool that we have, or we can use the animation tool to have a look at our data and the way that our field was harvested.